You are in the meeting now.
Recording in progress.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Hello? Is there anybody there?
Hello.
Hi there, how's it going?
Good.
Great. Everybody have a good weekend? Excuse me. All right, well, um, okay. So, wow, I can't. It seems just like the other day we had exam one, and next week we're already in exam two. Time flies when you're having fun, right? Um, so this week we're only meeting on Monday and Wednesday. SVC has a fall break on Friday. Um, so this week on Monday and Wednesday, I've just reserved this time for answering questions over quadratic functions and synthetic division. Next week, um, we will review on Monday and have our second exam. Again, it'll be split up into two parts. Part one will be on Wednesday, and part two will be on Friday of next week. Um, I advise that you go ahead and be looking at that unit to review. I'll make sure that it is in an appropriate folder. You should have access to it um, at the bottom of course content. There are the unit reviews. Oh, looks like I need to add. Just give me just a second. Let me do this real quick. Well, I thought that did it. Ah, there we go. I just added unit to review um, to the unit review folder in course content, and I'm going to go ahead and add it to. Um, this is week 7. Oh, and I'm going to add it to week 7 folder and to the week 8 folder. Um, that way there is multiple locations where you can find that review. Okay, cool. So next Monday, I will spend time answering your questions over the review or anything over that material for Unit 2. This week, like I said, I'm reserving time for today and on Wednesday to address questions over assignment 13, I believe, quadratic functions and synthetic division. And the notes, you'll only have week 7 note or assignment 13 notes and homework due by Sunday. And we will also have a quiz on Wednesday of this week. Alright, so that's as much as announcements goes that I have. So let's talk about questions over assignment 13.
Can we do number 6?
Number 6. Let's see, let me get this. Okay. Problem number 6. This is assignment 13, dealing with quadratic functions. So, assignment number 6, problem number 6, we have the function f of x is equal to 2x squared minus 7x minus 4. And look at, I'm looking at, okay, so, um, problem number A asks for the question, what is the vertex? Now, there are two ways to go about finding the vertex. Um, First of all, one method would be to, in order to find the vertex, we would do this negative b over 2a, and then that would give us the x-coordinate, and then we would evaluate the function at negative b over 2a, and this would give us the y-coordinate. So basically, this is giving us an x and a y-coordinate. That's one method. And the other method would be to get the equation in the vertex form, x minus x minus h squared plus k. And because I want you to know both of these methods, I personally like this method much more than I like this method, but that's a matter of opinion. So we're just going to go through and do this using both methods in order to get the vertex and then to be able to answer the rest of the questions. Alright, so using this form, negative b over 2a, that's the first thing that we got to find. So b is negative 7, so we have the opposite of negative 7 over 2 times 2. So that's going to be 7 over 4. So that's negative b over 2a. And then we need to evaluate the function at negative b over 2a. So we need to evaluate the function at 7/4. So we have 2 times a 7/4 squared minus 7/4, minus 7 times 7/4 minus 4. Now, one thing to keep in mind is this. I don't want the decimal value of this. I don't want the decimal value of this. I want the fractional value. So let's go through and do the math. 7/4 squared is going to be 49 over 16 minus, that's going to be 49 over 4 minus 4. Alright, the 2 on top is going to simplify with a 16 in the denominator, so that's going to be 49 over 8. And I'm going to go ahead and start making everything have a denominator of 8. So to make everything have a denominator of 8, I need to multiply this 49/4 by 2 over 2. So that's going to give me a 98 over 8 minus, multiply the top and the bottom by 8 over 8, so that's going to be a minus 32 over 8. So here we go, 49 minus 98 is a negative 49, negative 49 minus 32, so negative 49 minus 32. So let's just add 49 and 32 together. That's going to give me 79 plus 2 is going to be a negative 81 over 8. So, pulling all this together, we have our x-coordinate, we have our y-coordinate. So our vertex is 7/4 comma negative 81/8. There is our vertex. Alright, great way to get started. Now, because I want you to be aware of your options, I want you to be aware of your options. Let's look at how to get this information about the vertex by getting the equation into the vertex form. And to do this, we're essentially going to go through and complete the square. Alright, so let's take a look at this. We have 2x squared minus 7x. And I'm going to go ahead and get the 4 to the other side. Alright, so now we want to add b over 2 quantity squared. So our b is 7. So I'm just going to go ahead and calculate that real quickly. That's going to be 7 over 2 quantity squared, which is going to be a 49 over 4. So we have, oh, I'm sorry. Before we do that, we can't do that just yet. What did I mess up? I messed up. We got to, first of all, go through and divide everything by 2. So we don't want a coefficient of 2 in front of the x squared. Now we can add the b over 2 quantity squared. So now this becomes a little bit more interesting because now we have negative 7 halves over 2 quantity squared. Well, I want to simplify that first. So negative 7 halves divided by 2 is going to be a negative 7 over 4 quantity squared, which that is going to be equal to a 49 over 16. And that's what we're going to add to both sides. So we have x squared minus 7 halves x plus 49 over 16 is equal to 2 plus 49 over 16. Okay, so this side factors, and we know what this factors to. All we have to do is think about what is the b over 2. Well, the b over 2 was a negative 7/4. So that's going to be a minus 7/4 squared is equal to, alright, we got to simplify these two, we got to combine these together. So I need to multiply 2 by 16 over 16. So that's going to be a 32 over 16 plus 49 over 16. Let's see, hold up. Something is amiss. That should be an 8. Alright, we divided everything by 2. Seven over 2 divided by 2 is a 7 over 4. Squared is a 49 over 16. 49 over 16 plus the 2. Multiply top and bottom by 60 over 16. 2 times 16 is 32. That's giving me the 81 over 16. But we know we need 81 over 8. We need 81 over 8. So, um, Alright. It's time to put our thinking hats on because Mr. Clopton not seen it, so we gotta run through it again. Add the 4 to both sides. Oh, okay, no. Put the 4 on both sides, divide both sides by 2. Alright, maybe I'm just being 2 times over 1 times 16 over 16.
Seventy-two.
32 over 16. That's what I have right there.
Yeah, it's the same. That's it.
Alright, so I'm spending way too much time thinking about this. Because I alright, I'm gonna have to get back to you on this one. That is throwing me off. Because it's supposed to be 81 over 8. And, I'll have to get back to you. So, let's just keep moving on, because I want to make sure to answer your question. Graph the parabola. Okay. Now, in terms of graphing the parabola, for part B, when it comes to graphing the parabola, here's what you need. You need a vertex, we need a y-intercept, and we need x-intercepts if there are any. So, we know what the vertex is. We found that up here with, at this point, so that's going to be 7/4, comma, negative 81 over 4. The y-intercept we're going to find by evaluating the function at 0, which is nice because when you evaluate the function at 0, you're just plugging in 0 for all of your x's. So that just becomes 0, 0. You get a negative 4. Now, let's just take a moment to think about this real quickly. One, two, three, there's negative 4. Alright, so we want to roughly approximate where our vertex is. So, roughly approximating this, 7/4 is a 1.75. And 81/4 is a 20.25. That's going to be negative. So, just roughly approximating this, I can put the, here is the 1.75, and we'll throw negative 20.25 somewhere down here. So you can tell that I'm not trying for exact values. Now take a look at this. Our parabola, because a is greater than 0, which means it's positive, is going to open upwards. So we know that we're going to have some x-intercepts. We know that we're going to have some x-intercepts because the parabola opens upwards, so it's going to have to cross the graph. So how do we find those x-intercepts? We need to solve f of x equal to 0. So going back to our original equation, where we have a 2x squared minus 7x minus 4, we're going to set this equal to 0, and we're going to solve it. So how do you solve this? Well, your choices are, you could use the quadratic formula. My initial thought is, can I factor this? So the only way to make a 2x squared is to have a 2x and an x. Now, if I think about the AC method, 2 times a negative 4 is a negative 8. Are there factors of negative 8 that make a negative 7? Sure, a negative 8 and a positive 1. So to make the negative 8, I need to take 2 times a 4. We want to make that negative, so 2x times 4 is my negative 8. We'll put a plus 1 right there to give me my positive 1x. That will give me my negative 7x, and 1 times negative 4 is negative 4. So then we can set each factor equal to 0, which then means that x is equal to a negative 1/2, and x is equal to a positive 4. So we can come up here and graph that on our coordinate plane. So we'll call that negative 1, negative 2. So negative 1/2 is going to be right about there. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Plot that point. I'm going to do something else real quickly. I'm going to just draw a vertical line through that 1.75. I'm going to use symmetry to plot a second point. So this point right here is 1.75 units away from the axis of symmetry. So I'm going to go 1.75 units this way. So that's going to be 1, and then 0.75 is going to be right about there. And there I got my graph. There is the graph of this parabola. Now, something that I didn't necessarily say on the homework, but I very well may ask it on an exam. Um, what are the 5 points? Let's call it 5 key points. Well, one of those key points you already found, which was the vertex. So that's going to be 7 force, comma, negative 81 force. The other key point that you found was the y-intercept. The other key points that we found were the x-intercept. So we had negative 1/2, 0, and we had 4, 0. So that's 4 key points, and I'm going to say that the 5th key point was found by using symmetry. We knew that the y-axis, or the y-intercept, crossed at -4 on the y-axis. That point was 1.7 units away from the axis of symmetry. So 1.75 units this way. So 1.75 plus 1.75 is going to be a 3.5. 1.75 plus 1.75 is going to be a 3.54. And there is our 5 key points. Alright, are y'all hanging with me? Especially to the person that asked about problem number B. Are you still with me?
Yes.
C, what is the axis of symmetry? Well, that is this axis right there, and we know that its equation is x is equal to 7 force. Problem D, or part D, says if there's a maximum or minimum for this function, at what point does it occur? We have a minimum. This is called an absolute minimum. It occurs at the vertex. Domain. Remember that domain is, we're talking about the x's, what x's are represented by this graph. Remember, since the graph continues going upwards, it also continues going this way and that way, so we can say that the domain is from negative infinity to positive infinity. And F, what is the range? Recall that the range is your y values. So our domain goes from negative infinity to infinity, but our y value starts there and then continues going up. There are no y values down below this point, so make sure that you write your range and domain and range from least to greatest. So that's going to be the negative 81 over 8 to infinity. Does that make sense, how to approach this problem?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, great. I'm still looking at this. Did anybody figure it out? What my mistake was? Well, what else can we look at? Anybody? Are there any other questions that we need to look at? Oh, that's it. That's it. I figured it out. I remember now. That's it. Okay. So, um, that's it. Okay. So at this point right here, we have x minus 7 fourths squared. Um, I'm going to go ahead and subtract the 81 over 16 um, on both sides, and we'll set this equal to 0. Now, here's the problem. So, here's the issue with this. When we went back over here and divided by 2, we basically undid this coefficient in front of the x squared. There's a coefficient of 2 in the x squared, and we just got rid of it. So what we have to do is we have to put it back in place, because if you go through and FOIL this together, if you do the x squared minus 7 fourths quantity squared, that's x minus 7 fourths times the x minus 7 fourths, which is going to give me x squared minus 14 fourths x plus 49 over 4. And I'm not going to take it any further than that, but you can see already that that is not the same as our original equation up here. It was a 2x squared minus 7x. And this is not the same. So here's what we actually have to do. We have to put the 2 back in place. So what we need to do is, at this point right here, is we need to go through and multiply this by 2, and that's going to give us 2x minus 7 fourths squared minus the 2 is going to divide the 16, and that's going to give us a negative 81 eighths, which that's what we have right over here. That's what I was forgetting. We had to put the 2 back in place. And so now when you FOIL this out, when you multiply this all out, you're going to have 2 times the x squared 7 fourths plus 7 fourths is 14 fourths, or rather a negative 7 halves x. And then you're going to have the plus 49 over 16 minus 81 over 16. Distribute the 2, so you get 2x squared. The 2's cancel out, minus 7x. Then you get a 16 divided by 2 is going to give you 8, so you're going to have 49 over 8 minus 81 over 16. So maybe it'd be easier this way. If I 49 times 2, so we're just going to put this, leave this as, since these both have a denominator of 16, which is what we like. Oh, sorry. Yeah. And I wrote this wrong. I wrote that wrong. 8. So 2 over 16 is going to be 49 over 8. Alright, the difference between 49 and 81 is 32. And 32 over 8 is 4. And that takes us back to the original equation that we have way up here. So, if you're going to go through completing the square process, which is great, and you end up having to divide by 2, you have to multiply the 2 back into your form, your final form over here, to get the equation in what's called the vertex form. Okay, which I have, that reveals to me a typo in the notes. I'm going to write that down. We have a typo. Problem number 6, the vertex form should be 2x minus 7/4 squared minus 81 over 8. So, I will get that typo corrected in the notes between my 9 o'clock and 10 o'clock class. Alright, boy, I apologize that took me a while to figure out. What else can we look at in the homework? Have y'all finished the homework? Yes or no? No? Okay, still working on it? What about Sudan?
I'm finished.
I'm sorry, what?
No, I'm still working on it.
Okay. Okay, I just went through and, um, did a quick edit on the assignment key. So basically, on the assignment key for
Your
problem number
conference is
13,
scheduled to end in 2 minutes.
um, I made sure that when you saw the vertex form of problem number 6, that you are seeing, um, this specifically, that you're seeing the 2 in front of the x minus 7 4 squared. All right. So with that being said, we will, I will continue to address any questions that you have over assignment 13 at the start of class on Wednesday. But note that we will be having a quiz. By the way, you should have gotten an email stating that I had graded quiz 6. So the quiz over next week or on Wednesday will be over combination of functions and inverse of functions. Combination of functions and inverse functions. That's the quiz that we'll have on Wednesday.
Your
All right.
conference is now over. Goodbye.
See y'all Wednesday. I hope that you find success with assignment 13. Take care. Bye.